I had a dream. Well, okay, first things first. Let me get some context. At midnight, I had a big cookie with a scoop of ice cream.
Okay.
I, like a fucking cartoon character. I heated up a cookie and I put a big scoop of ice cream on it and I ate it and it was really good.
Yeah.
Then I went to sleep and in my dream, I had a dream I was in Philadelphia again. There was a monster police officer making rules.
Ooh.
And Kevin Hart was there, and I didn't want to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And I said, "Your mom" to Kevin Hart, and he was like, "Yo, don't say my fucking mom." I'm like, well, your mom used to babysit me. That is true. I do know Kevin Hart's family personally, which is very funny. His nephew is like a very close friend of mine.
Of course.
And then I got chased, and I met Luke, who is a mutual of mine and also makes a podcast, Eidolon Playtest, which is very popular. In the store, like, "Hey, Luke, what's up? We're getting chased by a monster." We run.
Okay.
The monster catches me and Luke. Turns Luke into a giant hamster.
Yeah.
I start crying. It's super sad.
Yeah.
And as I'm crying, the director yells "cut," and I find out I'm being filmed. And it's a set, and Luke unzips himself from this hamster practical effects, and then Samuel L. Jackson scolds me for crying so hard on set. It says he's never cried in a movie once. And then I woke up viciously. I viciously woke up. I have no clue what the fuck happened there. That cookie and ice cream fucked my day up.
I had a dream that was, I know we're talking about dreams here, but it was just like I went outside and I looked up into the sky and then there was like thousands of like UFOs flying through the sky and like descending on Earth. And I was like, I knew this would happen when Trump became president. And that's like the last thought I had before I woke up. Like as if like my anxiety. Attention campers, it's time for Camp Lazlo. I'm your host, Wyatt, and who is here with me today, as always?
Hello, I'm Morgan. I'm voiced by Tom Kenny doing a ill-advised racial accent.
We're here to talk about, there's a lot of ill-advised racial accents in this show that we'll be talking about.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
But we'll be talking about Camp Lazlo. Man, I should have said for the opening quote, it's time for cartoon buffoons, and then revealed that it was Camp Lazlo.
That's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. Everybody knows. But here we are.
Ooh, we should record a version of the opening as it's CARTO. Oh, it doesn't work as well. It doesn't work as well.
COON. But here we are. We're talking about Camp Lazlo. We're in the wonderful year 2005. The show came out on my birthday, on my 10th birthday, the same day that I got Pokemon Emerald. Good stuff, you know. You guys remember Pokemon Emerald? Man, what a good game.
Really good game. Really, really good game. It's the first Pokemon game I played, actually.
Yeah, just good times. Rayquaza, like that guy. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, his little bike puzzle could suck my ass, but
yeah. Getting that pseudo wudo on the Battle Frontier is fun. All that stuff. A lot of good stuff going on in that game. Anyway, Morgan, this is a show that a lot of people just shit on. It gets a lot of crap. Yeah, it's just like one of those shows that is a punching bag kind of show. I think even more so than the like shows just before Adventure Time, Chowder and Flapjack. Like I think that people tend to like those shows, even though people say like this was the worst era in Cartoon Network history.
I do think there's a few post Adventure Time ones that get bullied more, like fucking The Ugly Show, that's ugly, and Uncle Grandpa. Those shows get bullied in ways that like I'm like, all right, grow up.
Like Problem Solvers and
Problems. Secret Mountain. Yeah, like I'm like, guys, grow up. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
but this show does get a lot of heat.
Yeah, it gets a lot of heat. I think, I'm not gonna say not like that. It's like a perfect show, but compared to its sister show that we'll be talking about at some point, like a couple episodes from now, My Gym Partner's a Monkey, which is not very good, but we'll get into that. I think that personally, I don't think that this show, the shit talking, is necessarily deserved. I think that there's a lot to enjoy about it, but I'll ask you, coming back to it after so many years, what is your first impression of the show?
Well, my first impression of the show, coming back to it, was it's fine. I still had a great time. It's not like I'm not writing I'm not gonna this is a Juniper Lee, this isn't me finding a new favorite I'm gonna be talking about forever. It was just fine. I also always kind of liked Camp Lazlo.
Yeah, same.
As a kid, I liked it. My mom didn't like it. She thought it was annoying. But I had a great time with the show, when I was a kid. And coming back to I still like a lot of this. A lot of this still works really well for me. I do got to bring it back to what I always bring it back to, which is Fusion Fall.
Sure.
Because, and I'm not kidding here, Camp Kidney is one of the hardest areas in that fucking game.
Okay.
You got to go through the actual forest to get there. And the way to get to the forest, you got to go through through the back of Foster's home to get to Camp Kidney and stuff, right?
Right.
And it's all high level effects and like just walking with no save point in an MMO for 15 minutes. And I remember so vividly going, why the fuck am I doing this? This is so hard. And when you get there, Camp Kidney is overrun with more people to fight.
Yeah.
So it's not even a safe zone. You still just die. And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's a little PvP enabled zone, but man, as far as Camp Lazlo goes for me, I really enjoyed it as a kid. I feel like as I got older, I started to be whatever, that show's mid, it sucks, whatever. Just sort of parroting the common opinions that you hear from cartoon fans on the internet. And then recently, a couple years ago, I wanted to revisit it because I was like, it's weird that they made two shows with spider monkeys specifically, so close to each other. So I wanted to do videos on both and see if how they held up. So I decided to check it out. This is also around the time that I was getting really into. I think it was Paramount Plus had just come out because this is 2022 or something like that. And I was watching Rocko's Modern Life, which is the first show that Joe Murray made.
Yeah.
And really
way more fondly remembered. Way more fondly remembered.
So I was what if Camp Lazlo is as good as Rocko? So let me check this out. And I watched it. It was all in Boomerang at the time. And I was one of the fucking freaks that had Boomerang. So I watched a bunch of it. I watched a lot of the episodes. And I would say season 1 is a little bit weak, but it starts to get a lot better, especially into season 2. And I think once it's season 3, 4 territory, it's very consistently funny. Season 5 I feel falls off pretty hard, but there is still some good episodes in there. There's some reasons why it kind of completely crumbles by the end. It had a very strange production history, and by the end of the show, a lot of the staff was just gone. So it was a very small group of people left making the episodes. So, but yeah, coming back to it though, just a few years after doing that video, I made a video that was kind of a very nostalgic, very positive video talking about sometimes it's okay to just be yeah, this thing that you liked as a kid, it actually is just still good, you don't have to put on a, this effect of oh, it sucks now because other people on the internet told you. Sometimes you can just kind of enjoy it for what it is. And coming back to it now, I feel I'm even more removed from that negativity So it's just kind of like happy to revisit it because it feels like weirdly nostalgic. Even though it was only a couple years ago that I watched.
Yeah, but still, that feels like a while. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think there isn't a knee-jerk reaction to like go back to things when you were a kid and go, it's either masterpiece or it's like
Terrible
dog shit. Yeah, like,
and I was a bad person for ever liking it, etc. You know.
Yeah, and like most times, I'm sorry guys, it's a mid ground. It's like a oh, this is alright.
Yeah, and that is like, you know, I would say that that's sort of where it stands overall. If I had to like try to be a little bit objective and try to divorce myself from my own like positive feelings on the show, I think the show has a lot of great ideas, and there are a lot of ideas I wish that they seized on more. We'll talk about that as we go into get further into the podcast. But overall, I think that like it laid a really good groundwork for where the network was going to go in the next few years.
Big agree.
People like Thorpe Van Orman and J.G. Quintel, worked on this show before going on. Thorpe a couple years later made Flapjack. J.G. Quintel, who also worked on Flapjack, would later do Regular Show, which is a huge thing for the network. Still is like one of the most beloved shows on Cartoon Network to this day.
I honestly would argue it gets more like real buzz than a lot of other shows from that era. Like I think Adventure Time is probably more popular, right? Mm-hmm. And I would probably argue that even like the show that loves to be quoted in Gumball is more popular, right?
Yeah.
But I think people can quote and understand the characters from Regular Show better than both of those shows. I think people can write their own jokes that feel as though it could fit in with Mordecai and Rigby more easily than they could for like Gumball or Adventure Time. And I think that's a showing of good character writing is when other people can understand what your character would like sound like or do. It's the same thing I say about home movies where anyone can write a Coach McGurk goof because the character is so strongly like given a character that you know what they would say and how they would react to something.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was saying, and I think that definitely comes from here. I think there is a balance of like comedy and also some like very adult cynicism that exists in Camp Lazlo that definitely moved forward into stuff like Regular Show and other shows that I think like no one really like traces back to it.
Yeah, and Joe Murray in general, like I've always kind of respected him as a creator.
Yeah,
and I think that Rocco's great. The Rocco movie that came out a few years ago, also very good. And like he's had like a very small career. He's only done like 3 big shows with Rocco, Camp Lazlo, and then Let's Go Luna, which is a PBS kids show. So I have never seen it, but good for him for making stuff and doing that. And like he tends to always have like Carl Salzaraki, like he was Rocco, and then now he's Lazlo in this.
And Clam.
And he's Clam. And like he's always been like a factor in the show. Tom Kenny has always been like a factor. I mean, he pretty much made Tom Kenny, besides like Kids in the Hall or whatever, like as a cartoon voice actor. Like it began with Rocco, because then Rocco went on to create SpongeBob. Like Steven Hillenburg worked on Rocco before that. So Tom Kenny would get like his most famous role
from like meeting people. Yeah. I've always liked about cartoons that like producers and like animators and stuff like that, they're really good at like hiring people and like getting people they worked with before and they know can perform characters. Yeah. It's really good. Because like, when you look at like early portrayals of SpongeBob, him and Heifer aren't that different. When it comes to the performance, like I think Tom definitely gets more comfortable as time goes on, and his SpongeBob voice definitely has like a stronger nasal and stuff to it now. But in that first pilot of like this fry cook, like it definitely does. There's a lot more Heifer in there than you would think. Like the accent's not there, but like the base level voice is definitely very similar. And
what we're talking about with Fossil Zone for Mentioning Friends, like Keith. That's a good example. Like Keith Ferguson was Blue in that, and then in the next show, it's like, we gotta we have to bring him back to voice like the spiritual successor to Blue as Hater, who is the the like complete asshole man-child antagonist of that show. I was like, yeah, I love that as well. The fact that like these creators can have like, oh yeah, these are like my guys that I hire, and like Tom Kenny does so many fucking characters in this.
Yeah.
So, and also, well, like I don't know if we want to talk about characters like right now, but fucking Jesus Christ, Mr. Lawrence, who is already my favorite voice actor in SpongeBob as Plankton, as Edward in this show, easily my favorite character.
We are going to talk about characters. I do want to. There's some stuff about like the show structure I want to talk about first.
Yeah.
I think. How can I put this? This show was all. I had a great time. I had a fun time with it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think so strongly that this show should have had a backdoor pilot that would have been a better show.
I think maybe we're we have the same idea.
Watching this show and I was like, oh yeah, I think Lazlo's fine. I think there's some good episodes that are funny with him, right? Every episode that focused on the Girl Scout, like the Squirrel Scouts, some of the funniest TV I've ever seen.
Absolutely,
I'm like, it's so
good.
much funnier.
I think that's why I like the show so much. Genuinely, is because of the Squirrel Scout episodes, because like the normal Lazlo episodes I'm like, this is really funny, and then these ones I'm like, this is really funny. It's also something you don't really see very often, which is like
so
three stupid girls getting into hijinks, and they're all like very different personalities, which is like what makes them very engaging characters that like bounce off of each other. Whereas like the Jelly Beans, you know, they are kind of the like all the sort of the same naive dullard,
boy dumb, boy stupid. Yeah. It's funny. I've never seen a cartoon where I could say the girl characters have like more depth and interest in the goofs and gaffs they get into. It's crazy. Like this is actually like kind of bewildering to me when it crosses like, oh, so like okay, so Patsy likes Lazlo, and then you know Nina is smart and Gretchen's a bitch, for lack of a better term. But no, there's so much more jokes and stuff down there, and I'm like, wow, no one is writing the girls in your cartoon like this to be this funny. Like it's so good, and I just like I was obsessed. Like then we started meeting like all the other Squirrel Scouts, like the other girls there, and I'm like, I'm more obsessed now. Like when Alma Dean had an episode, I was like, this fucking rules.
It's so good.
This is so good. Why did y'all give this random Al girl an episode? I'm like, this goes crazy.
I know. And I think about that, and I'm like, it really does make me, you know, I just think I'm like, man, this would have been like the whole show. Like I think it's still cool that it's in this show. But they should have like made it 50-50 at least, you know, because it's like
I think it would have been groundbreaking.
I think like a third of the episodes maybe are focused on the Squirrel Scouts, maybe like a little bit less than that. There's like a good amount per season, but for the most part,
there's like 3 or 4 per season.
Yeah, but I would say like besides the Edward episodes, which always make me laugh, those are the ones that I'm most engaged with, and like I just love all 3 of the like the main 3 Squirrel Scouts, and I love Jane Doe. She is so adorable.
She's so funny.
Yeah, and there's a really good episode with her where she has to like take care of. She becomes like a doting mom basically to all the Bean Scouts. They like take advantage of her, and that feels like such a good way to use that character who is like maybe more of a, you know,
mother,
feminine maternal role, like a more traditional like feminine role, like putting her in that and realizing like, oh yeah, you know, this is what a nightmarish existence to be like, to play mommy for this entire group of the dumbest boys that are just taking advantage of you. You know, so, it's just like
I think like her jokes about womanhood works because of how she's supposed to play against the other Squirrel Scouts. Like who are not at all like the feminine archetype. Like I love her waking up like this. Oop, there goes my alarm. I have to get married. And I fucking laughed. Like, God damn it. What an awful joke. But it's funny. But no, like, one of my favorite episodes with the Squirrel Scouts is her going, I should have a pageant. The girls would love a pageant. And the girls like this, we love rolling around in mud. Let's get some slugs to eat. And she's like, what's like, she's like this, these tomboys. And it's like getting angry. It's screaming. Like, it's so good. And at the end, they're like this, we'll do the pageant. Because she said, we can learn how to fly at the end of the pageant.
Yeah.
There's a secret ritual to fly. And I'm like, these guys are fucking idiotic. But I love all these girls so much. Like, I'm going to imprint on Gretchen because she's just fucking shitty and evil.
Yeah, she's so good. Like, I didn't want this to immediately become, let's just talk about the Squirrel Scouts, because that's what I'm doing it first. That's what I'm doing it first so we can get out the way. My secret agenda is that it's like, oh, they're the jewel of this show. But like, so like, I just love even the fact, like, you know, they have the Alien episode, you know, because all the fucking Cartoon Network shows at this time had to do like these alien invasion episodes. The boy half of it is fine. And like, Samson's a funny character, so it's like, yeah. But the one where it's like Nina and she befriends the aliens and like, you know, it's like hanging out with them and wanting to play board games and like tell them about like sci-fi movies or whatever. And she's like way too focused on hanging out with these aliens that she ends up like leaving Patsy and Gretchen behind. That's just like, what a good character focused episode, like, for her, you know. And then like, one of my favorites for sure that I watched last night is like her finding out that her soulmates are Chip and Skip, the two.
What
like,
a fantastic episode!
So fucking funny. So,
I love her going, which one? And it goes both. And she's like, no.
Yeah, it's because she's so tall, isn't it, Gretchen? Like, that just made me laugh so hard. And I'm thinking about this, and this may be a spoiler for our My Japarta's Monkey episode, but like, that also has like a giraffe character, and it's so much better. She's lame. Yeah. So,
as someone,
my problem with that character in, you know, is that she's way too connected to, like, oh, her only personality trait is that she's an awkward girl who has a crush on a boy, whereas like Nina, maybe she's like a kind of generic girl character, but there's more to her. She gets like a lot of pretty good episodes, even like into season 5, which, like I said, is kind of.
She's also like a space pervert, which is like a fun fact to give her. Also, like this show has like Patsy, who is like at the beginning, oh, she has a crush on Lazlo, but also she has so much more. Lazlo is like the 5th most important thing about her character, and it's so funny. Like, what a fun way to write these characters. And as someone, and I'll say this, as someone to judge Nina and the giraffe from My Partner's a Monkey, I have a fursona who's a giraffe. Not really. I can't really get into the fursona thing. I'm trying, guys. I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
I could judge giraffes, and Nina, top 8 giraffe. She got it going on. She's funny. Yeah. She's great. She's fucked up. It's what you need in a character like this.
Very good. Like, like I said, all three of them are great. Gretchen is, you know, maybe very predictably my personal favorite of the 3. But if I had to pick a favorite character overall, Edward absolutely would be.
Let's go to the main cast so we can talk about Edward. So Lazlo is a spider monkey, a Brazilian spider monkey who comes to the purpose of the show. Everybody is they go to camp. It's a camp show. They're at camp. You know, we follow Lazlo, who's a Brazilian spider monkey, voiced by Brain. He was like
Carl Alzaraki.
Yeah, Carl Alzaraki. Fantastic. Then you have Raj, who is a Indian elephant, who is Jeff Bennett doing a. And I said it about Tom Kenny, because Tom Kenny does do it a lot, because we watch Foster's. He does it in Foster's too. But Jeff Bennett tags in to do a ill-advised Indian accent.
Yeah. And this was like that exact period of time when, like, you know, everybody was like, okay, racism against black people, that's no good. We can't do that. Everybody else, though, we are still being racist towards. Like, Asian people still get strays. South Asian people. Like, everything like that. It's like shockingly recently until they start to have Like, I mean, it's very, very recently that they started to like be like, all right, let's get people that are actually this race to voice these characters. Because like we talked about it in Juniper Lee, Laura Jill Miller she's not doing like a racist accent or anything as Juniper, but she is still a white woman playing the role of a Chinese girl. So it's like not offensive, and it's the same thing with like, okay, a character like Connie from Steven Universe is not like, she's not doing a racist Indian accent, but it's still like a white girl doing, playing that character. It isn't until like very recently that, in like stuff like Regular Creek, that we have it where it's like, all right, every character that we have that's like a different ethnicity, we're just going to have like a person, like an actor, because there's plenty of them that you could pick from to voice these characters. So it's like, yeah, that's something I brought up in my video, because as positive as I was, like I did want to be like, yeah, I think that it is pretty shitty that they have Jeff Bennett doing like an Apu-esque
fucking like that kind racist of, like, accent, yeah.
And it's not like Raj is like in a vacuum, like a good, like he's a funny character, like he has like good episodes and everything like that, but it's always going to be a little bit tainted, or a lot of it tainted by just the portrayal, like
I do think it's like, it's funny, as someone who is like this is going to be on wax, whatever, as someone who is mixed race, no white there, don't get that twisted, there's none in the mix, don't do that. It's always so interesting because like I have always coded Lazlo as, I'm going to be weird, black, but specifically like Afro-Latino for some reason. I just do. That's just how Lazlo comes off to me. It's so weird to how Lazlo have like a normal voice, and then hear Raj's voice and me like kind of go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the thing is, it is like he doesn't have any of like the other like racial traits I've seen that like I'm like, oh, that's a fucking fucked up one. Usually, there's a few. There's a few in some episodes. So I'm like, I don't know if he needed this voice. Raj could have still been an Indian elephant, which like, yeah, he's probably Indian, without Jeff Bennett going full out with the voice here. But
I mean, and speaking of, in a few, we're going to be doing Transformers Animated soon. That has Tom Kenny doing an Indian accent with
Tom Kenny doing his ill-advised Indian accent. Let's fucking go, baby.
Professor Sumdac, and meanwhile, Tara Strong, actual restraint as sorry.
I fucking peeked my mic laughing. I just remember Tara Strong's in there. Oh man, you want to be Tom Kenny racist dad? Or Tara Strong, just miscast daughter, baby. I don't know, but yeah, that's Raj is there. Raj is like, where Lazlo is like adventurous and helpful and kind and like, oh, we gotta share and all that stuff. Raj is a hypochondriac, who wants to be left alone and is scared of many things. He's that friend character. Then you have Clam, who is yet again Carlos, and Clam is just a weirdo.
Yeah. Clam's great.
Clam's great. He just repeats what people says. He's constantly stemming. I like Clam. Clam's very funny.
Clam gets a really good episode with Nina.
It's very sweet. It's a very like
I was like, I just love that they're both like, it's one of those episodes where she's using, it's like, oh, she's using him to try to fit in or whatever, but it's like a mutual agreement. It's not like one person is tricking the other person. They both are pretending to be siblings, and then like you learn at the end of the episode that Jane also did that, but with Slinkman, which is like, I don't know, just a very cute way to end the episode. And it's like a good relationship that you never see, like those two being friends, because like one's so smart and one's dumb. And then the fucking... go ahead. The episode... The Edward Day episode.
Oh my god, the Edward Day episode with Clam is so fucking good. Also, I would argue Clam actually is less dumb than you would think. I think he just like can't speak.
He's just simple. Like he's just very like reserved and everything, but he's like, they see him as dumb. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. He is like an observant person, and like a compassionate person or whatever. Like,
I guess go ahead. Mm-hmm. We should get to Edward.
Yeah.
So Edward is a platypus, and his character is, and I don't know how else to put this, a miserable piece of shit. He's like, what if you made a 10-year-old, but gave him the soul of a 64-year-old who's working a 9 to 5 until they die?
Yeah, he's very Squidward-esque, but like
Very,
almost
very
taken to like an extreme, like an even more extreme, because like Squidward is sort of a passive sufferer of SpongeBob's nonsense, whereas Edward actually does try to assert dominance and be like a cool guy and be like, insulting and aggro towards the jelly beans, who are
he's also like
completely unfazed by it.
He's also like a bully. He loves to bully people. He loves he loves to prank people. He's just like, he's somehow miserable and over it, but also actively does shit, and it sucks. He's really, really funny. We say all this. He's super duper funny. And I like, so for those who don't know, Rocco's Modern Life gets a movie later on where one of the characters, she comes out as a trans woman. It's very nice. It's very well done. It's a very funny movie. A friend of mine told me they think if they do that with Camp Lazlo, it's Edward who comes out as trans.
Yeah.
And that's why he's so miserable. And I'm like, truly the funniest movie concept on fucking earth.
Yeah.
I'd watch it a billion times.
Supported in the show.
Supported in the show a few times, actually.
Yeah. Because there's the episode with where he has this Barbie doll. Amazing. Just a hilarious episode in the sense that it's just like, not even like, oh, haha, it's funny that we're making fun of this macho man and he likes something girly. It's more so funny because it's just seeing Edward, like, I don't know, the cognitive dissonance and the like situation that he like keeps putting himself into because of his masculinity. It's like insulting the masculinity, not the femininity, like that's why I think it's funny. And then actually a genuinely heartwarming ending where Lazlo sees how much the doll means to him and like goes along with a bit of like the fake doll that he made, in its place, and be like, that is the real one. And then Edward almost thanks him, but then tells him to fuck off or whatever, also, because he's himself.
There's also an episode where Edward's like, man, it's Girl Scouts have it so good. God, it'd be cool to be a Girl Scout. I'm like, Edward.
Yeah.
Edward.
There's one where he gets pregnant or has an egg. It's like a lot of good stuff going on there.
And this leads us to our big fact that we said the best characters of the show are the girls. Which means, because Edward is like the second other good character, all of the good characters in the show are the girls now. And we're believing our Edward theory. But Edward's really funny. Next, and I guess like the last three we're gonna do. I do want to give it to Samson, because Samson gets a lot of episodes. He starts off not being a main character. Samson's whole thing is that, like, okay, if Raj is a hypochondriac, but like it kind of falls off later on because he doesn't actually get sick, Samson's legitimately a hypochondriac. Asthma, needs nasal spray and everything. But also, he's like, I don't know how to put it with Samson. He's so strange as a character.
Yeah. He's like one of those characters that they like fleshed out because they thought he was funny, not because they like actually wrote a character Bible and were like, oh yeah, here's this character, of course we're gonna have these episodes with him. They were just like, wouldn't it be funny if this stupid character became a real character? Like, that's what he feels like, and I love it when shows do that. That's like one of my favorite things about a long-running show.
Yes,
is when some random character just takes on a life of their own and becomes like, oh yeah, this is now just like a mainstay in the cast.
Yeah, and like Samson's like solo episodes are really funny. Like, they're always him like interacting with stuff. He's also a mailman at the place, and it gets some good goofs at least. Him and Edward have a really funny episode where Edward's trying to mail himself out of camp, and Samson's like, you just don't got enough tickets. You don't got enough stamps. You need more stamps. Yeah. And like try to follow all the rules. It's a really good one.
Yeah, and then I think the last two talk about are of course Slinkman and Lumpus, like the two.
The Tom Kenny talking to himself most episodes is really funny.
I feel like it's interesting that we like went so long without talking to them because they're such like a big part of the show.
Yeah,
and, like I do think that like Slinkman definitely gets like a lot of like really good episodes as far as like, you know, diving into him as a character. He's definitely like maybe a little bit fruity. So that's he's definitely Tom Kenny doing his the guy from Mission Hill, you know, like that gay guy in Mission Hill voice.
Oh my god, he is.
Yeah.
Slickman gay? Question mark.
Yeah.
Pride flag question mark.
And then like Lumpus, you know, he's just like the dumb
evil
guy in charge who's like super confident and yet is, you know, like it's just like yeah, the mean grumpy scoutmaster and everything that is like at odds with. It feels like, again, they had the setup where it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna torment this scoutmaster, but then like as the seasons went on, they're like, it's way funnier that he's tormenting Edward, and that because he just wants to be friends with him so bad, and Edward just doesn't want to be friends with him, and Mr. Lawrence is so funny. Not to say Tom Kenny isn't.
No, but the Edward voice is too fucking funny.
It's I mentioned it before, but just before we continue with Lumpus, that the Edward Day episode, there's a moment when they're trying to convince, like, oh, which one is the real Edward between him and Clam. And Clam is, of course, just doing a perfect Edward impression. And they're like, all right, Edward on the right, give us your best impression. And then the screaming that he does, like, there's no Edward on the right. It's just so, I was laughing so hard my throat hurt before I went to bed last night.
I love that Clam is just like, is doing the voice so perfectly. And even though Clam is a fucking rhino and Edward's a platypus, we can't tell the difference. And Edward being the only normal person in this cartoon is losing his fucking mind. And it's so funny. It's like, they make him a straight man in like a normal sense of the straight man in a cartoon that's ridiculous. And every time they do it, it is the funniest thing you've ever seen. But yeah, back to Lumpus. Lumpus is I'd say Lumpus gets close to being so annoying he ruins the show. And it's part of why I like him.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good way to describe it, because like Lumpus, like I often think that they think Lumpus is funnier than he is. You know, like I think that might be like one of the legitimate things where it's like sometimes I am kind of like, oh, do we need another Lumpus episode? But he gets some pretty good ones. And I think like the biggest tell of like I don't know if their heart was really in it or whatever. The final episode, which we should probably talk about.
Oh man,
which has like one of the most like bizarre "fuck you, who cares, the show's over" endings of like any show.
I would say it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I was talking to I many times watch some of these shows with my partner. Kathy just has to be around when I watch these shows. Sure. And Kathy said I didn't really get into Camp Lazlo, and Kathy said since I saw the last episode, it just feels uncomfortable to watch. And I'm gonna say the plot of the last episode so everyone can understand it. Lumpus is tired of washing clothes. So the camp stinks, no one has washed clothes. So Lumpus like, ooh, what if I just paint myself with clothes and go outside naked? I want to remind everyone, this is a grown man who works with children, and his plan is to be naked around them with paint on him. He covers his crotch multiple times in the episode with his hands, by the way. So he knows what this means.
Yeah.
He does this then all the kids go, oh, that's right. We can just put paint on ourselves too. And he helps all the kids paint themselves to be naked. I'm not kidding here, everybody. It's a really weird episode. And then at the end of the episode, we find out, actually, this whole show, he's not a camp counselor. He's a deranged psychopath who knocked out the camp counselor and just wanted to be around these kids and pretend to be one. And it is so deeply uncomfortable to think about the subtext that has evolved here whenever you think about that. Like, I'm like, hey, who the fuck greenlit this?
Yeah, it feels like they just wanted to have like, whatever, we're done, fuck you. We're just doing like this is just the final episode. We might as well do this, so.
They could have fired him at the end of the show. I think that would have been, if they fired him and have Heather take over, whatever, right? But I think it's everything else that makes it like really like, the thing is though, I almost like it because of how fucked up it is. But like, it's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like you said, it's like that entire season really feels like
Who gives a
they're
fuck?
just who gives a fuck? Like not necessarily that they're spinning their wheels. It's just that like they're just throwing any idea at the wall and just seeing like whatever. Wouldn't this be funny? And like I feel like that becomes a problem with some Cartoon Network shows coming up. Like I feel like that was also a problem with My Agent Partner's a Monkey. I feel like that show deteriorated much quicker though. But still went on way too goddamn long. Chowder, which is one of my favorite shows like ever. That the third season of that show, it feels very like off because it feels like they just didn't really care and they're just kind of like filling it out. I don't know. There's like a lot of examples
Like
of that I can pull, and I feel like the sweet spot of this show, like I said, is like season 3. I feel like once you start getting episodes from J.G. Quintel and Thurop Van Orman, which is in season 3, that's when it like those are like some of the funniest episodes. Like the Space Mates, the one that we talked about with Nina and the Dung Beetles is in season 3. Like I don't know, just like the Temper TP, which is with Edward's anger issues, and then eventually like Gretchen shows up and she's even worse than Edward, so she ends up like making him like go back on his therapy and become even worse. Very good. That's like a great like character pairing that you don't see too often. Gretchen and Edward, you know. So,
but like, I like the ending is like it's a strange one. I do like that it has a proper ending. I do think that's like something. I'm a strong believer that like it's nice when shows get proper endings. They don't always need them. Some shows can just end. And this show kind of just does end, but like it has like a big bang with it. Yeah. I do like the crossover with Rocko's Modern Life, even if it's like in a weird way. I will say, and this is some stuff I have written down. The funniest joke in this show, and it's nothing, is whenever Edward screams at a background character. Yeah. I can't express how much I'm going, move, bear! Or out of the way, beaver! You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so good. There's so many good jokes about the like random background characters that never get
names that are just animals.
Yeah, like Lazlo in the Edward Day episode being like, "Excuse me, pig," which I don't think I've ever met.
Yeah. He goes, oh, hippo. Okay, hippo. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, fuck, this is so funny. And I think it's partially because of the performance of Doug Lawrence, but when he screams out of the way, bear, it killed me. I had to lay down because he's like, all right, lemmings, like I'm pushing all the lemming siblings away. I'm like, fuck, he's so funny.
I know. So and it's very good that he's paired with Chip and Skip, who are of course actually the dumbest characters, though they did make a functioning rocket, which is like pretty out of dung or biodegradable material.
I think the way they don't look like dung beetles at all is
at all. Like there's they don't have a shell or wings or anything.
They're just purple. Like they're just purple fingers. They it's so funny. I love that like somebody like, oh, these guys are the animal, and they're like, we don't want to draw dung beetles. We don't want to draw dung beetles. Fuck you.
I was howling with laughter in the Space Mates episode with the speak to me, talking to their stomach, and then why won't you talk? And they're just
punching.
He just starts punching his own stomach, and then his brother punches him. It's like, oh, that kind of hurt. And then they just beat the shit out of each other.
And Nina's like, fucking, like, what's going on? Also, the other girl like this, like, oh, are you my soulmate? No, I'm your brother. And it's the specific way that Steve Little does the voice of like, no, I'm your brother. Hello. It's like, it's giving Happy Madison, like, it's almost at the point where we're getting like Adam Sandler levels. But it works here because no one else is giving it. So I'm like, okay, I can let it go here. It's also very close to the Turtle Princess voice from Adventure Time, which I think makes it a billion times funnier to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I feel like he's an underrated voice actor because I don't really see him too often.
He's like anymore. A billion people in Flapjack.
Because he's in and he's in Adventure Time.
Yeah.
I just checked this. He's Spider with a top hat in Star Versus. So.
Oh, cool.
There you
But
go.
yeah,
That's a show that I have a lot of affection towards, except for the final season, which is not good. So that's my my hot take on Stars. That's
last season blows it up.
Yeah, well, a lot of people just do not like the last season, but a lot of people also don't like the third season. I think the third season's pretty good, but I think that the last season kind of is just mid as hell. So
speaking of Steve Little, he's also Dr. Barber, which is one of the most evocative voices in cartoons to me. Hello, Flapjack.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very excited to get around to those shows, to the Flapjack. I was
I'm gonna tell you, my partner Kathy has expressed wanting to be on a Flapjack episode real bad.
Ooh.
Has it on DVD. Has it on DVD. Like,
oh my god. Yeah. I'm very excited. Yeah, that'll be a ways away.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're far away.
Because that's like 2007 or whatever, so it's a couple years from like where we're at, but yeah, we'll get there eventually. We'll get there in a couple months.
Camp Lazlo. Another thing I want to talk about before we start, final thoughts on it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is it's weird this show got a movie, and I think like it really was show. Like I think this is a good show. I think the show's fine. It's weird it got a movie though, right? Like I'm not wrong for thinking it's weird.
Yeah. I also think that this show was like the fact that it got 5 seasons
is insane.
Even though it wasn't. Yeah, even though it's only 60 episodes. Is still like it's still crazy that I got 5 seasons because like I feel like it was pretty ubiquitous at the time, but again, like most people that you talk to the show, like they just assume it's bad.
Yeah, they just feel nothing or they think it's bad.
Like they're apathetic. They're like, whatever, it's mediocre. Who cares? So it's like it didn't really, even though it went for so long and had like Fossil for Imaginary Friends. That had like 3 movies, it had the premiere and then the Wilt one and then the finale one. Whereas like, this has like, it has the Where's Lazlo. I don't know. And I feel like it was just like maybe a contract agreement or something. Cause like even shows like that you would never expect to have movies got them. And it's just like, I don't know, like even My Gym Partner's a Monkey, like that had a movie. There's like some around this time that didn't, Juniper Lee never did, and Class of 3000
never did. But those feel like shows that got cut short. Like it feels like there was like almost like a mandate that like, hey, if a show is gonna be even vaguely popular, give it a movie. Mm-hmm. And it's weird. It's weird because some of them aren't made for it. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like this show, I feel like doesn't have. I feel like there's sometimes, like the season 2 finale, I believe, the one where they have to go and save Camp Kidney, like that kind of like feels like, oh, they're elevating it. They're sort of like taking their time and taking it more seriously. But for the most part, the show is very like unserious about its world and characters. So it's weird to have, like it would be if like Chowder or something had a movie. And, but then you go to like recently you had like, Craig of the Creek had a movie. That makes perfect sense because that has like a very solid world, really well-defined characters. So doing a thing where it's like, how did Craig, JP, and Kelsey all meet each other? Yeah. Like that's a good idea for like a prequel movie. So,
I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's a weird thing, and the movie's fine. I think Where's Lazlo's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. It's not my favorite of like. Again, I kind of prefer the Hello Summer Goodbye Camp as a like
a short thing. Yeah, like a short,
that kind of like a 22-minute episode. Like that kind of like a bigger episode. But for the most part, like I think that movie's fine. I think that like I said, I think the Alien episode is like first half is like fine, second half is very funny. We're gonna have to talk about that at some point.
Those have been weird because some of them have been nothing and some of them have been all right. It's I think the fact that there's no continuity, like none of them like go together well, because in a lot of them the aliens aren't real and in other ones the aliens are real. It's just I don't know. I think it's a cool event to do. I just don't think there's any emotion to be had with it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very clearly like all the shows were told put this kind of episode in. They have to want cheese, whatever. Because I remember it was like supposed to be a Kraft sponsored thing.
Yeah.
And then they lost the sponsors, but they were still making the episodes because cartoons take 9 months to produce an episode. So then they're like, oh, it's just aliens that want cheese for no explicable reason. That's just like what they want. So that's why like the one in Foster's feels like the most half-assed one, because they're just like, we have a character named Cheese, and then what if we imply at the end that he might be an alien? And that's like, yeah, that's kind of funny.
That one's pretty good. But I guess that's the Camp Lazlo thoughts. It's a pretty simple show.
Yeah, I would say if you are a fan of, like, if you like the show, or you're like us and we're like, oh man, the Squirrel Scouts, that's the best part, and you like the summer camp vibes and everything, huge recommend for current Disney show Stugo, which is about a summer camp and is like not an all-female cast, but has like a significant female cast of characters that are all like very different and very like, it's a very funny show, and it has a really great stupid sense of humor that I appreciate, and I feel like is mostly missing from modern cartoons. Like, I think it's there to some degree in something like Jellystone, which is, I love Jellystone, and I'm excited to talk about it in 2 years or whatever. But that's like, yeah. So I recommend that to anybody who has those thoughts of like, man, they should have gotten their own show. Like, I feel like that's. So it's not the exact same thing, because that show but the vibe is completely bonkers. But like, yeah, if you want that kind of like a female led like summer camp show that has like plenty of like stupid, insane shit happening, then there you go. Check that show out.
I do plan on watching Stugo one of these days.
Yeah, it's very good. It has one of the hottest. The person who runs the summer camp, who's like
is the older black lady. Yeah.
She has this very particular body type that I appreciate. That is like, oh yeah, you can tell she's like 55, 60. She has like a non-idealized body. That I'm just like, yeah, that's very hot. So
that was the horniest way you could have possibly said that.
I know.
You're like, I'm owning it, bitch. I'm not fucking scared, dude. It's who I am. It's what I'm about, motherfucker.
I've seen people that are, on Twitter or whatever, like people that work on the show, and they're like, we've seen the fan art of Dr. Lula. We know, and we agree. And I'm like, yeah.
She got the real high waist is the thing. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You're a pervert. I will watch it, and I will corroborate your feelings, probably, knowing me.
Yeah, you probably will. Yeah, I mean, Lorraine Toussaint, I believe, is the name of her voice actress. She just has like a very good...
The Wire alumni, baby. Hold on.
And she was also one of my favorite scary Wire mothers in all of fiction. Shadow Weaver from the She-Ra show, like the recent She-Ra show. So, who is also extremely hot because, I don't know, I just like toxic mom characters. Fight me. It's
This says nothing about
you. Don't psychoanalyze me, please. But
guys, next episode our guest will be Freud. We are getting a board, and I'm going to.
It kind of will be. I mean, we do have a guest for next episode because we're going to be doing
Robot Boy,
which I've already seen a couple episodes, and I think it's the worst show that we're going to ever talk about on this.
Dude, I haven't watched any of it because I don't want to. I will. But I don't want to.
There's so many. There's 104 episodes of that show.
Fuck off. No, there isn't.
Yeah. It's all on YouTube, though.
There's so many episodes of goddamn show.
Actually, I might bring this up in the episode itself. Actually, I'll bring it up now, and then I'll talk about it again in that episode. But I called out that show. I said... I understand the UK is a different country, but it's not that fucking different. So why does Robot Boy feel like fucking aliens from the planet Zorp wrote and directed it? Because it's just like a very, like, what is up with this show? And then somebody commented and gave me some production information, said that the staff was at odds and that the person creating the show wanted it to be an action show, and then the Cartoon Network wanted it to be like a comedy show. So
and that's why they make the fucking fake ass Cartman in it. Okay.
Yeah. So it ended up like being pulled apart, and then it just was like a very like strange product overall. Again, we'll talk about that next time.
Okay, yeah, but before we go, I do think I would like respect it. Like, yeah, behind the scenes stuff can ruin things, and there's a lot of issues there. You have 52 episodes, which equal to 104 segments. Die.
Figure it out.
If it's still
figure it out.
Fuck you guys. I'm not.
It's fine. You guys can work this through and make it into the show that you like. I feel like that was the case with another show around the same time, completely unrelated to Robot Boy, but maybe related in some ways. My Life as a Teenage Robot. Also, like, they're like, yeah, we have a bunch of cool robot anime shit, and it's a comedy show. Also.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
doable. Like you guys
both.
weren't reinventing the wheel, Robot Boy. Don't fucking act like you guys are doing this thing that's never been done before. Like, Cartoon Network's known for action shows that are also comedies and slice of life. So, fuck you guys. Fuck you.
Yeah.
The show's bad. I'm gonna watch a few episodes when we get off of here, and if I hate it enough, Wyatt, I'm gonna come to New York and I'm gonna beat you to death with a hammer. So,
I'm excited for that. But anyway, yeah, we're done. We're done talking about Camp Lazlo. It's a good show.
it's pretty good.
I like it. I'd say check out some episodes if they're easy to find. Obviously, there's some that are like boring or not funny. But
just skip them. You know the first 3 minutes. Just skip them.
Yeah, skip them. It's fine. Edward episodes are usually a good compass to go on. Same thing with the Squirrel Scout episodes. So just go check that out. But anyway, and also check out my video that I made.
Oh my god, please.
Yeah, go and check that out. Also on this channel, if you're listening to it on YouTube. And yeah, it's just like, it's a video I'm still proud of. It's a video that like I've had like a few of the guests that have been on the show, like Nick and Alex, like have complimented me, saying that like that's one of my best videos because it feels so genuine. To like, nobody else would put that much time and effort into making a video for a show like Camp Lazlo unless they actually cared about it.
Yeah.
Like they're not just doing it as a obligatory thing. And I'm like, I appreciate that, because that's how like I felt like I wanted to like get these like weird feelings off my chest. It's like, no, I actually I like this mid show. I think it's like a pretty good show. So yeah, and I'm excited to talk about My Gym Partner is a Monkey, because that I have way more weird, complicated feelings about that show. And we'll dig into that,
I think it's dirt, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think it's fucking dirt, so yeah,
but
let's go.
Robot Boy is worse than it.
Don't worry. Yeah, I'm very excited because we do have like in the future, not some of them not close, some of them close. We in the future, I think arguably there is only 3 shows on Cartoon Network that I would say that we're going to cover anyway that are just net dog shit and not good at all. Robot Boy's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The other one's Young Justice. Die mad about it if you disagree. And I'm excited for us to go to those because so far we haven't covered anything that I would say is just straight up bad. Some stuff has been like not even Teen Titans. I was like, oh, that was all right. Like it had
by the
bad
end,
parts.
We were like, that was a great episode because we ended up being very like, oh, we like these things about it. And
another season would have fixed a lot more of that. Yeah, but
another season, you say? Season 6 is going to, it's season 6 is real. It's coming, guys. After Teen Titans Go is dead, then
never mind. Kill me. No.
Remember in the Teen Titans Go movie when they had like a joke at the end, whatever, that was like, oh, what if Teen Titans came back? And then people were like, oh my god, it's going to happen. And then it never happened. Yeah. It's been like 6 years. And
dude,
that didn't happen.
By the way, I love that movie. I know people get mad at me.
I love that movie. I'm excited to talk about it.
Dude, I still sing this like, the star, the fire, the live, the wire, the alien princess, and the alien attire. Like, they fucking killed that rap song, bro. It's so good. And Halsey and Little Yachty's there. It's, God, what a...
Yeah.
Anyway, we're done.
Good
Thank
stuff.
You for
Yeah. Morgan, where can we find you?
Hey everybody. I am Girl Next Vor on Tumblr. I'm Girl Next Vor on Blue Sky. However, the government has told us that Blue Sky is no longer a good social media account. So the big Blue Sky, where they have all the competitions, will be ripping it out of the ground and selling all the stuff. So you got to follow me there before that happens. Yeah. Wyatt, what about you? Where can we find you?
Also on Blue Sky, Wasp Ranger, WAZP Ranger. If you want to follow stuff about this podcast, though, going over to the Cartoon Buffoon podcast. What is the name of the
cartoonbuffoons.bsky.social or Buffoon Pod is just what it's the title name is.
Yeah. So there you go. Morgan is running it. I ran the one on Twitter, but I mostly just used it to post new episodes. Morgan is doing her own thing, and
I'll mostly use it to post new episodes, and then I'll post a goof every so often and give some attention.
Yeah. So the which is good. And if you want to follow the Patreon, it's only magic. Boom, $3. You get the episodes a week early. You also get all the other crap that's on. It's on the Patreon exclusive stuff. And if you only have $1, though, you get Wow Cool Robot, which is me and my friend Wayne going through every single robot in existence, interviewing them. It's 5 to 10 minute episodes. It's a good time. We haven't recorded them in a while. Wayne's been going through some shit, but he's back, and we're gonna record this weekend. So don't worry, we have more episodes on the way. We'll review more dumb robots, I promise you. What else? Also YouTube channel, of course. Post the episodes there a week after. Follow that. If you're listening to it right now on the YouTube channel, thank you. And you can get the Robot Boy episode right now.
You can travel to the future and hear us talk about a bad show. You want to hear us talk about a bad show in the future? You can.
Yeah. I think we got a message from, while recording this or whatever. No, like a little bit before recording this, got a message from our co-host or
for Robot Boy. And
talking about Robot Boy.
Guys, behind the kimono, guys, nothing we say about Robot Boy in that chat has been positive.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun. Anyway, that would do it for this week's episode. Join us next time. We're gonna be talking about that bullshit. And yeah, see you there.
Goodbye.